Good afternoon. After about 2 weeks of owning them, I'm ready to tell you about the Galaxy Buds. Firstly, we'll talk about battery life. In the week or so that I owned them, I had to recharge them by plugging into the wall one time. And this is really difficult on one of these two-handled scooters. You know how the back of the phone can charge the Buds by enabling wireless power share and then putting the phone on its front and then putting the Galaxy Buds case onto the back of the phone. I tried this and set a timer for 10 minutes. One Bud was at 20%. The other one was at 30%. 10 minutes later, the 20% Bud was at 30, and then the 30% Bud was at 40. So 10 minutes equals 10 extra percent of battery life. Next, when I plugged them into the wall for 10 minutes, they had risen 20%, which is really, really fair considering how long these things last. I've never felt like, oh, I better not use these while I do whatever because my battery's getting low. I never felt that way. These things are incredibly good as far as longevity goes, especially for how tiny they are. And I would recommend them 10 out of 10 for anyone looking for a truly wireless earbud experience. The second thing that I want to talk about was call quality. And there's been a lot of complaints about how people on the receiving end of those who are having a phone conversation with the Galaxy Buds, they say that the call quality is garbage. And I had 4 different test cases. None of them knew at the time that I was asking them because of the Galaxy Buds, but for example, one of them told me that I was coming in at about a 6. I asked him, I was like, hey, how clear am I coming in right now? He said about a 6. And then the other ones, they said, I was like, you know, how do I sound right now? Do I sound pretty clear? And they're like, yeah, you sound fine. So in the 4 times that I tested it myself, the people on the receiving end of it didn't see a noticeable difference between the call quality of when I was talking with the handset itself and talking with the Galaxy Buds. Now, I think a lot of things could come into play with this, like network speed, location, the chips in your particular device, and wireless interference between the phones and the earbuds and the phone and the towers in general. So there's a lot of stuff that could come into play, but in my experience, the audio quality is fine. Also, while in the wind, the times that I tested it while I was outside purposefully in a windy area also came back okay. No huge difference between call quality with the handset and call quality with the buds themselves. Next order of business is to talk about the various features that are provided by the touch panels on either side of the ear. The complete list of which are bass boost, soft, dynamic, clear, and treble boost. I'm not sure why you would want to take bass out of music, but dynamic is the one that I ended up sticking with the most because it's the one that is supposed to be really adaptive to the type of music that you're listening to. And I found, like, I kind of cycled through each one. I'm like, you know what? Pretty much sounds the best on dynamic. And on top of that, there's also a few other features that have to do with the touch panels on the sides of the ears. For example, you can set it to where if you press and hold on one of the earbuds that's in, hold on, I'm receiving a call. I don't know who this is. Apparently nobody important. Anyway, if you are in a crowded environment or something that's otherwise noisy, and then somebody's trying to talk to you, you can set it to where you press and hold, and then it will start allowing audio from the microphone that's on the outside of the earbud to come in and make it a lot easier for you to hear things that are not coming through the earbuds because it's kind of stuffed inside your ear canal anyway. This function is called ambient mode. And funny thing I found about it is when you do enable it, it takes 2 or 3 seconds, a little bit longer than I think it should, to actually trigger. And when it doesn't immediately turn on the external microphone. Instead, it's like, you know, you see somebody trying to talk to you and you see this. You know, I saw you trying to like cross the street and everything. When you let go of it, it immediately turns back off. But if you keep holding after the initial 2 seconds, after it starts letting sound in through the outside, then it will turn the other one on too. Which, I mean, it's kind of cool, just I guess because if it's just like a quick thing, maybe it doesn't want to spend battery life to enable the other microphone to let in other things to, I don't know. But it does work. The other gestures that you can use with the touch-sensitive panels that you have to, by the way, watch when you're putting them in, kind of like hold it from the side and then kind of give it a little one of these instead of just pushing it straight in, because if you've started playing music or something and then you start putting them in, you can either switch tracks or play or pause or do something that you didn't want to do. So what I would strongly recommend is to put them in from the sides, and when you're receiving a call you can double tap on either side to answer or end the call. When you're playing music you can double tap to either go to the next track or the one before it, depending on which side you go on. And there's also a way for you to enable like a touching and holding on one side to turn the volume up and vice versa to turn the volume down. That's what I had it set on at first. And there's also a way that you can use either side to touch and hold and then trigger the voice commands. And there's two different ways you can do it. You can use Bixby or Google Assistant. One thing that I found with Bixby is that when you trigger her, the little tone that plays when you like bling, that is something you can hear when you trigger her. But if you choose Google Assistant, then you will not hear whenever it becomes ready, and then you won't know if she's listening or not. So I guess it would take some muscle memory or several different times of repetition to get used to how long it takes for her to like wake up. But that's something that I kind of wish that they would change, because if I'm correct, most people would prefer to use Google Assistant instead of Bixby. The last part that I wanted to talk about, and that's something that can be applied to any kind of headphones or earbuds or over the ear, well, earbuds really, is the fit. I have a history of when I try to use any kind of buds at all, they always fall out of the right ear. I don't know if it's because I'm chewing or because I'm smiling or both, but whenever I do that, the ears move and then one of them falls out. And I think the reason why that is because on the right side, or any kind of wired ones, there's always a little bit of wire that's actually kind of gently pulling on that side. So whenever the moorings that it's attached to moves around, it has a tendency to fall out. So even before I got these, I was very, very skeptical. I was like, man, I don't know if this is gonna work, because they always fall out. But after getting them and trying them for about a week, I was like, wow, they don't actually fall out. And I even did like the headbang test too. It was fantastic. They do not fall out of the ear. In fact, after a while, I wore them for about an hour or so, and then this side actually started hurting, and this side was, or did not. So it's more comfortable on this one than the other one, and they stay in. In the box that comes with it, there's the USB Type-C charger that is included, and there are 3 different sizes of like little gels that stick on the end of the speakers themselves, which, by the way, are divoted in such a way that it helps keep the earwax out, because I'm sure that we've all been in the place where we have earbuds that we use and then take them out, and then they doubled as Q-tips while they were in there. Nobody wants that. The way they've designed them now is it's a lot harder for the earwax and stuff to get stuck in there, and it's a lot easier to clean too. But anyway, there are 3 different sizes of those, and also on the outsides of them there's little fins that are designed to kind of lodge it in here to keep it from falling out. And those are all interchangeable. There's the base like rubber band of it for them, I guess you can say, and then there's a small and a large. So there's 3 different ones of those, 3 different ones of the other ones. If my math is correct, then that equals about 9, I believe, different combinations. Correct me if I'm wrong. So, and this is something that's included in most earbuds, most wireless ones, but I thought it prudent to mention it here too. So they've got you covered there. And now for somewhere completely different. Some wonderful people that I would love to offer this experience to are the Scotties on Patreon, the ones that pledge $10 or more per month, and those are Stuart Glover, Robert Bitter, Ilando Cibro Paracord Design, Joe Schmo, Jared Elder Studios, Romaine Roberts, Derek D, Ian Lewis, Paul A. Donnelly, Teddy the Dow, Mario Torres, Jatinder Lal, Anthony Jackson, Eric Price, Stephen Nichols, Nick Hawks, Sin O, Unit Omega, and Christopher Caswell.
I stay with my Scotties. My Scotties are my boys. I ride with them. And I put that on the generation.
Next we have the Super Beamers, the ones that pledge $5 a month, and those are Solar 81, Paradoxed, Grant Stockton, and we have a new one! Welcome, Colin House. Many thanks to you, sir. I appreciate it. And last but certainly not least, we have the Beamers, the ones that pledge $1 a month, and those are Encrypted Bunny, Rob Ralston, Vincent Papineau, Spidget, Jamie Ives, Roman Van Rookhuizen, Nicholas Clark, David Larson, Alex Sear, and Rico the 13th. Keep listening and stay beaming.